That one is pretty dang awesome. So looking around, there's no cars or people. Heading around that corner was just ridiculous. It does take a little bit more energy out of you, but if you're in a highly engaged situation here, going around these corners, it's kind of fun actually. Because like I said, this car does not have all-wheel drive, but so here I am. I wanted to go up a stormy mountainside and see how the Integra Type S does in the rain. And it's pretty fun. Since this has so much power, it's pretty easy to lose traction if you're absolutely pushing it, flooring it. But the crazy thing is, even if you are doing that, you are kept in a forward direction. Even though you're losing traction, the vehicle is not going sideways. So I think that's pretty important to think about, because the Integra Type S has so much power, and with tons of power, unless you have an extreme stabilization system, you could lose control. And the Integra actually does have a pretty awesome stabilization system with the Limited-Slip Diff and the dual-axis suspension. So the tires that I've got on here, these are the stock Pilot 4S summer tires. They're definitely not made for snow or really slippery conditions, but they are holding up pretty impressively in the rain. So, like I said, even with the high torque of this car, I'm not exactly losing control. I mean, I still have to steer. I mean, come on. But amazingly, it's not completely unstable, and I'm definitely going up this mountain, keeping planted. I'm not feeling unsafe. Obviously, there comes a time where you just need to slow down. You know, speed is definitely your enemy on slippery conditions. But as far as this goes, it's doing pretty well. I'm pretty excited about this. And of course, you could have the best tires in the world, but if there's enough speed and enough water, you're going to lose traction. So you always have to be paying attention with your surroundings. And I'm not going real fast, but there's enough water on the road that with summer tires, you just want to be aware of it, you know. And so you do have that sliding action, but going around a corner like that, I'm still maintaining quite a bit of control. So I'm not concerned, actually, even with the amount of torque that this vehicle has. You just got to be smart about it. With an all-wheel drive system, you're going to have all four wheels, and especially with the super handling all-wheel drive that Acura does, you're going to have that torque vectoring. So wherever you need the torque, it's going to send that to the wheel, and so it's really smart and intelligent in that way. This doesn't have that exact system. It has the Limited-Slip Differential System that keeps you planted, but you just got to always keep that in mind. But it does work pretty well. I'm pretty impressed with it. So here we are doing a little bit more testing, going up a canyon this time. And you know, this is your typical canyon where you're going side to side around the corners and, you know, all of that fun stuff. And I'm not driving the Integra Type S in a crazy way, but I'm just trying to be safe, you know, see if there's any stability issues in a rainstorm, and so far there are none. Not a ton of rain right here, but the road is wet, but no problem at all. Now if I was to accelerate, still no problem. And that just has to do with how much rain is on, how much water is on the road. But so far, not seeing any stability issues with good old Teggy S. So even around these corners where you might lose traction, there's no problems at all. So like I said, if I want to go forward, I can. And I don't lose control, even though I'm applying a pretty good amount of acceleration to it. I am staying forward, and this is not a dry street, and it's amazing how much traction there is. So if you think that you need all-wheel drive to have the stability to keep you safe, I really don't think so. And if anything, knowing that there isn't all-wheel drive, it'll keep you even safer, because you got to be a little bit more aware that the back end has some ability to slide. Now, you don't have that torque vectoring system. So there are some of those obvious limitations that you would have. But again, when you keep that in mind, you're going to be able to compensate for that and just have a little bit more thought. But yeah, I'm not seeing a lot of water on the roadway here, and so I have amazing stability. Even though it's wet, I have amazing stability in the Integra Type S. So yeah, even going around these corners in an acceleration, I'm doing just fine. So no problems here. No problems. So right here through a sustained curve. This is probably where the Integra has to try the hardest to keep stable. But going around a sustained curve where you might have the back end slip just a little bit, you have to be whipping it around that corner pretty hard. But just keeping that in mind, there is some playfulness in a front-wheel drive vehicle. But even with the Limited-Slip Differential System, it's amazing how it compensates for any stability issues. It's pretty incredible. So I've got a lot more rain on the road here. And I'm not feeling unsafe at all. It's not like I'm holding on for dear life going around these corners. This is pretty easy for the Integra. Yeah, I felt some slippage there, but then again, it compensates for that additional slippage, so pretty crazy. Yeah, getting a little bit more rain on the road here. I don't have my sweet noise canceling mic, so you're hearing all of this organically through the regular system here. Rockies, even going around a corner that you know for sure is going to be more slick, you have no problem staying in the turn. I'm not saying that it's on rails, but it is pretty dang close, even in wet conditions. Stakes are a little higher when you're up higher in elevation. You got a little bit more rain, a little bit more water on the road. You got some debris you got to watch out for. One thing that you don't want is the Integra coming in contact with a bunch of rocks. You don't want to hurt the sheen and the pristine coat of the Integra, the Type S Teptegi. But yeah, this is really fun. So far, no issues at all with stability. None. And I'm not going obscenely quick. I mean, like I said earlier, the faster you go, the more stability issues that you're going to have. So if you have stability issues, just slow down a little. Always being aware of your surroundings, other corners. Some of these corners are blind corners, so you just got to take it a little bit more slowly. Downshift to a lower gear. slippage, but even then, it's not like I'm going out of control here. So as long as I'm within a reasonable speed, going around these corners is not an issue. But the other thing is, you got to account for other people's reactions, and so going around these corners super fast, although you might be on the road, they may not be, so you just got to be really careful. And just so you have an idea of how I'm driving, so I've got a foot on the clutch just in case I need to downshift, and I've got my heel on the brake and my toe on the gas, so that allows me to just kind of keep the momentum going around. So if I need to brake, I can brake. If I need to stop or go, you know, I got all of that easily accessible. It does take a little bit more energy out of you, but if you're in a highly engaged situation here, going around these corners, it's kind of fun actually. Get a little bit more used to it, so it's kind of what I like to do. I'm curious what you like to do. This thing is just totally stable, even in these wet conditions. Going around those corners, always anticipating somebody being there, somebody in the road, so if you need to stop, you're really quite ready for it. So looking around, there's no cars or people. Heading around that corner was just ridiculous. No issues at all. None. With this amount of rain, totally stable. I haven't really lost traction all that much. These wheels are pretty good. So they're summer tires, but they're having quite a bit of grip even in these wet conditions. And of course they have to engineer them to be able to handle a decent amount of wet driving, so they're not completely unsafe. But in like a snowy situation, probably not a good tire to depend on. I mean, you could probably get by, but I would not enjoy it, because when I'm in the snow I like to have some good traction, so nothing better than a sweet set of Blizzaks. So what do you think? Wet canyon road, do you think the Integra is handling well? I gotta say, this is doing pretty amazing. I mean, I wasn't expecting it to be horrible or anything, but I am kind of impressed. Yeah, some of those corners are pretty sharp, some of them are blind, so you just gotta go a little bit slower just in case. But it's all fun. You don't need to be going super fast around these corners to be having a good time. You can just appreciate the engineering that Acura has put into the handling of this Integra. Even at low speeds, you can feel it. It's so planted. That one is pretty dang awesome. So sweet. turn, and you can see around pretty well. So yeah, like seriously, the traction is just amazing on this thing. And as soon as you got an open view that there's no cars, you just kind of open it up a little bit more. So awesome. The camber of the road just kind of moving from side to side. It's pretty awesome. So total control there around a curve, accelerating around a curve. Not just any curve, but a wet curve. Surprised, but it's just really exciting to see the limited slip diff system kicking in, because this is one of the features that Acura has kind of been bragging about, coupled with the dual axis suspension. And I always kind of wondered, you know, the 6-speed A-spec is already so good. How much better is this going to be? And I got to just say that it accounts for the additional torque that you're getting here, which is really exciting. So even going up a wet and windy road, the Integra Type S has supreme handling. So just to set you up for this turn, it is kind of a sustained but wider turn that we're going to go around, but we're just going to see how the limited slip diff system keeps you in the trajectory around the curve. But we'll just see, because this is going at a little bit higher speed, not such a short curve. So I could definitely tell that there was some slippage there, but nothing to be concerned about. And like I said, as long as you've got the right amount of torque for the speed with the wet road, you're totally good. Keeps you very stable. Yeah, totally stable around that. Pretty awesome. It's like it's not even wet, because they're, I don't know, obviously gravity and slippage, but it's just amazing how the system works in symphony. So you've got the tires, they're excellent tires. You've got the limited slip diff system, the dual axis suspension, and amazing steering. The Integra Type S, it dials up all of the notches with quality and precision. Everything that's amazing with the A-spec, they use that here. I mean, really it's more about the NSX technology. They borrowed a lot of technology that is so good with the NSX and put it into the Integra Type S. So just think about that. Not only are you getting an upgraded Integra A-spec system, everything that's great about that system, but they're dialing it up with NSX tech, as well as stuff that's from the Civic Type R, which is amazing engineering there. So seriously, even in wet conditions, this does fabulously. So the entire surface of the road is wet. It's not covered, it's not gushing with water, but it is wet. So that gives you a pretty decent idea of how well this is doing. So now we've got a lot more water on the road. So we'll see if our dynamics change a little bit here. Obviously around these corners you gotta be watching for cars, but when there's no cars and you kinda press the gas down a bit more, pretty dang awesome. Really cool. conservative here. Can't always see what's around the corner, so I kind of go a little bit slower around those. But when you have full view of the road ahead of you and it curves and twists and turns, it's pretty dang awesome. Another very generous driver letting me pass. Could be going so much faster, but we're not really trying to push the limits of the Integra because that's never going to be done on any of these kinds of roads. We're just trying to have fun here within the confines and limits of the roads that you're going to be driving most of the time with this car, and it does a pretty freaking awesome job. Okay, we had a little bit of some slippage there, but the LSD, man, it works. Works so well. And by the way, the bolstering on the seat here, it does a really good job. Like, it's not as extreme as the Civic Type R. So as a daily driver, you might actually like that a lot more, but it is very stable and it keeps you in position here. So I really like the seats on this car. It's really awesome. Take a little break here. You know, you gotta hand it to all those race car drivers because it takes a lot out of you physically to be driving in such an engaged manner. But I'm just taking a little break. Back at it. Oh, check this out. So cool. Oh, jeez. It's awesome. So well. Does such a good job. Great job, Acura. And the entire engineering and design team, holy moly, this car is so good. This car does not have all-wheel drive, but seriously, with how it's handling, you'd almost think that it did. It works so well. Seriously does. Going around these corners is just insane. And I knew Acura was betting on people loving this car. They didn't really have to brag about anything with this car. So when I was talking to the engineers in Long Beach, and they were telling me about the testing that they've done with the Civic Type R and the Integra Type S on the track in Mojave, they just said it was insane. So, I mean, I didn't know exactly what that meant, but I knew it was going to be something pretty phenomenal. And driving it in different situations like this just kind of illustrate that point of how insane this car is. Because like I said, this car does not have all-wheel drive, but you would almost think that it did with how well it does. So, pretty amazed here, guys. And you know, if you've been nervous but you really are considering the Integra Type S, but your main hang up is the all-wheel drive system, I would just encourage you to accept the magic that Acura has created with this car. It works. And I can say this having driven a regular front-wheel drive system. My 1998 does not have any of these special systems. I can attest to the fact that this system works so well, and you really don't want all-wheel drive with the Integra. The front-wheel drive system is part of its soul, and Acura does front-wheel drive like nobody else. Nobody can do front-wheel drive like Acura does. It's just not possible. They have a secret sauce for doing it, and nobody can come close to it. It's been proven time and time again how well the system works. So if that's one of your concerns, I would recommend to look into it, because this car on a day-to-day basis is phenomenal. I feel like I can drive skillfully in this car, even though I'm not a race car driver. But this just complements all of what you know. But I will also give you this admonition: this is not a car for everybody. It is a car for enthusiasts. It is a driver's car. So until next time, everybody, I hope you enjoyed that. Hope that helped in some way with your Integra journey, or Acura journey, or with any journey that you might be in with the next car of your dreams, because this is seriously a dream car. So, anyway, I appreciate you guys tuning in. If you like this video, please comment, like, and subscribe. And we're now approaching 500 subscribers, so I thank each one of you, and hope that we can induct many more into the channel so that you too can enjoy the fun aspects of the Integra Type S, the A-Spec, the 98 GSR, and other topics that I find interesting, and hope you will too. So we'll see you guys later.